Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with a daily technical update. This video is for educational purpose only. There's no advice or recommendation whatsoever. It is the 23rd of July and today we'll have a look at Nvidia that with the other semiconductors got hit a little bit yesterday. Nvidia hit by a bit of a sell-off, testing minor support here at 165.37, which is the gap area down to this candle here. And why don't I use this? Well, because this is the body gap and this is where the most of the trading has been taken on. So that's the body gap. If it closes below the body gap, then we could see a further corrections, and especially if it takes out 160.98 or 161 here, close below that, and that's where we missed that, then we could see an even larger correction. However, there is no divergence on the positive RSI, indicating likely higher levels in the coming days and weeks. So maybe this was just a small blip. We don't know that. There's no divergence on the RSI either on the weekly, indicating higher levels. So let's see about that here the next few days. Will it bounce off here and continuing or resuming its uptrend? It's a little bit up in the air at the moment, but there are some indications that it will bounce a bit. So let's see. Just for me to tell you, be a little bit of observant on that. Nasdaq 100 down a little bit yesterday. There is, I think, a slight divergence. Let's check it out here. You'll see 75. Well, it is not really. So here we have still an uptrend as long as you stay above this area here, 22,587 on Nasdaq. US NAS 100 pre-market up a little bit. If we're looking at the S&P 500, more or less unchanged. And the Dow Jones also, it was a little bit higher yesterday. So market is fairly calm at the moment. Let's see the US 500 here before market opens. We can see now there's a bit divergence. You can see that the RSI values are declining, market moving higher. Trust the trends. As long as we stay above 6,200, we are still in a bullish trend. Moving on to the Asian markets, we have Seng pushing much higher again, 25,000, almost 500. Actually spiked a little bit above, and there is potential higher in the coming days and weeks. We can try to indicate that we already reached 200% of this one. And looking at the weekly chart, let's do that and see where we are headed. We are headed towards 27,000. Will we get there? Well, that's debatable, but it looks fairly strong at the moment, to say the least. So keep an eye on that. And if we are looking at the Nikkei index, really massive move here this morning or today in Asia session here, pushing higher towards the previous peak at 42,490. I wouldn't be surprised if we reach that. And if we add a Fibonacci to this one, let's see if there's some matching levels. 42,200. Here we had 42,490, 42,600. So I think we could see Nikkei pushing to those levels around 42,200, 42,600. And let me just talk about something I haven't talked about, well, basically ever. MSCI, that is the iShares MSCI China ETF, and there is some interesting things developing here. We can see here we have some strong resistance around current levels, just below $60, 58.66. Testing this, actually closing just below this peak there. If it pushes higher, which I believe it will, well, then we could see potential higher to levels around these this here 74, 75, which is 100% of this correction phase here. So that's basically 100% of that. So just a side note. Just a side note to illustrate what's going on in the Asian markets at the moment. Very strong moves indeed. On the European session yesterday, we had EUROSTOXX closing below minor support here at 5,380, and we are technically in a bearish trend. RSI hasn't confirmed it just yet, so we could bounce, but you can see the 100 moving average is declining here. And let's see what's going on pre-market. But then we're actually bouncing, and we're bouncing from this 61.8 retracement once again. We did it there, and we are maybe doing it here. So if we can close above the back above the cloud today and back above the 55 moving average, here we have the CFD / the future bouncing. Well, then we could resume uptrend. So a knife's edge we are on here at the moment with the EUROStoxx50. The DAX index 23,975 tested yesterday once again. Pre-market also a bit of a bounce off here. You can see tested this 23,921 on the GER40/future yesterday. Still positive sentiment, so I think we will bounce, but that is the key, 23,920. Moving on to the currency market or forex markets, we have the euro dollar breaking back above resistance here at 117.25, above the 61.8 retracements, also around that level, flirting now with this rising trend line here. So maybe it was just a false break. I think we will see it crawling higher the next couple of days, and if it takes out 118.30, well, then there's potential up to 119 plus 120. And I think actually that is the picture that will play out as long as we stay above 115.55. Sterling dollar, or cable as it's called, has bounced to the 38.2 retracement, 135.27. Could bounce further. Let's see here the next couple of days. Key support here at 133.55. So I think it could bounce further, maybe up to 136.27, where we have a little bit of resistance. We can also see that it's been a slight consolidation. So around that level there, we are still above the cloud. We are above 55 moving average. We just need the RSI to get back above 60 threshold. Then that is in a bullish trend confirmation. Euro sterling, if it takes out 87, well, then there's potential to above 87.50, 88. On the yen pairs, dollar yen, well, in a correction mode, dip below the 38.2 retracement, could actually dip all the way down to the 61.8 retracement, 145 and a bit here, 145.16. We could dip to that where we have the 100 moving average giving a little bit support, and 55 especially giving some support there. However, still positive sentiment on the RSI, so let's see if it can bounce back. It could resume uptrend. The euro yen still in a trend exhaustion mode here. If it takes out these two peaks here, well, then there's potential higher. And as we talked about so many times, there is actually potential back to the peak areas there, 175, 45, 50. The Aussie yen correction tested the 95.75 and the 200 moving average, which we talked about the past few days that it was likely to do. It could still push lower. And if it takes out the lows from yesterday, which I don't believe it will though, because we're still positive sentiment and maybe just a slight divergence, but another thing to talk about. If it takes out the peak there, which it could, was crawling higher, so keep an eye. If it starts crawling higher, then I think it will take out the peak there, and we could see a push above the resistance here at 97, 40, 50 level. Then there could be potential above 98, possibly up to 99 area. Keep an eye on these levels there. The sterling yen still in this rising channel pattern here. Got rejected at 199.95, which is key, and we talked about so many times that it's something that goes really far back about October last year. So that is really a key resistance. Aussie dollar has bounced further and is now flirting with the 786 retracement at 65.65. I think it will resume uptrend. We still have positive sentiment on the RSI, and it's likely to test the previous peak here just below 66 if it takes it out, which I believe it will. And this is not a recommendation at all. It's just my belief on how to read the market. We could see a push up to 66.50 or maybe even up to 66.80, where we have the 161.8 projection of this corrective move here. Dollar Canada, oops, let's just get that resized and zoom in. Let's see, we have a sell-off there on Dollar Canada that took out the support and the 61.8 retracement, now flirting with the 786 retracement at 136. Negative sentiment on the RSI. If it breaks below and close below 60 threshold, then I think we will see it taking out the lows here at around 135.55 and 135.40. So not too strong, but some strong excuse me, support there. But I think if we could see it below 135 to 134.70, possibly down to around 34.40. Sterling Canada, and let's resize that one. Seems to the bounce couldn't keep its mojo, and I think we could see another test at 183.35 support, possibly down to 182.60. Euro Swiss, well, it is still this range bound here. The key support here, if it takes it out, then I think we'll see it dipping to 92, but really not much to talk about until that scenario plays out. Dollar Swiss also below the support here at 79.5 and the 61.8 retracement, just above the 786, resumed downtrend actually. RSI below 40 threshold, confirming further levels, lower levels. So I think we will see a test and lower push towards 78 here in the coming days and weeks to really reverse this picture or this scenario. We need a close above 80s, but 65. The dollar index, almost the same picture, but just above the 61.8 retracement, touched it there yesterday, and just above the 96.95 support. If it takes it out, well, then downtrend has resumed, and there's a good chance, a risk, whatever how you see it, that it will break barriers. We have the RSI being rejected there at 60 threshold. If it closes below 40 threshold, well, then it will resume downtrend. It will be also confirmed by a push below that support. Moving on to gold. Gold pushed above 3,400 yesterday, above the 786 retracement, and that is usually a strong signal that it will actually take out the peak here, and RSI back above 60 threshold, supporting that view that it will push higher, possibly to 35.30. Possibly up to 35.77 here in the coming weeks, maybe even up to 3600. At least that's in the cards at the moment. So really strong move there, possibly fueled by also a strong move in silver here the past few days. And let's have a look at the a little bit longer term chart. If we go really far back, we can see that's where we are, nearing 40, and there's actually potential up, medium term potential up to 43. 44 level on silver. The platinum stalling a little bit, but as we can see, let's just resize this. There is potential up higher here because we are in a bullish trend. There's no divergence. There is potential up to around 1500, 1520. But it is stalling a little bit, as we can see here. Also, RSI values declining, and market move higher. So we actually have massive divergence. But if RSI takes out its peak and takes out the falling trend line there, if it takes out 67.72 and takes out the falling trend line and close above that, both, then I think we will see the platinum pushing higher towards 1520. Copper, also strong move yesterday above the 61.8, just very close to 786 retracement of 580, resuming uptrend, and I think we could see it pushing higher in the coming days and weeks towards 600 plus 616.15 level. On the crude oil situation, well, it tested this support here at 64.87 yesterday. If it takes out 60 even, well, then downtrend is likely to resume. Otherwise, we'll be range bound here for quite some time. Brent crude oil Same picture really. The 55 moving average coming up there, the 100 moving average coming up there, giving some support. We are still in the cloud now, so in neutral position, so still also range bound there, still positive sentiment. So if it start pushing above the rising trend line and above 60 threshold, expect a bullish push, but we have the 200 kind of locking it in there too. On the European nat gas, very close to the 32.64 lows here, support. Could test it, but I think we will see it range bound up to 36.38 for a bit. US nat gas continues sliding lower, and I think we'll see it down to around 3.15, 3.10 here very shortly. Negative sentiment on the other side could actually push it down to around $3. On the yield side, interest rates, we have US Treasury yields, the 10-year, touching the 50% retracement of this uptrend there, just above the 432 minor support, bouncing a bit here. So that is the range to look out for. To the downside and to the upside is 450. Looking at the European 10-year, found some support here at 55 moving average. Still positive sentiment on the RSI, so I think we will actually see it bouncing. Could still dip to the 61.8 retracement at 254. So let's see here. But if it started crawling back above 265, then I think we could see the peak area or the resistance area here around 272 to 274 being tested and possibly taken out. UK 10-year, well, it has dipped lower yesterday, hasn't started trading just yet, but very close to the 455 there. If it takes out the volume looking 452, which is 61.8 retracement, key strong resistance up there. And finally, on cryptos, Bitcoin, not much to talk about, basically trading sideways. Need to take out the all-time highs, therefore push higher towards 130,000. Could still see a correction down to around 113. Ethereum, well, has the top and reversal pattern like formation. There's no divergence, but we are very stretched on the RSI, so I actually think we will see a correction. How deep it will be, it's anybody's guess, but it could drip all the way down to just above or actually below 3,200. So let's see about that. I'm not quite sure it will do that. Before it actually resumes uptrend. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day and talk to you later.